All right, continue on from the last video. We are going to look at numbers 10, 11, and 12 in this, and then possibly look at setting up for part 2. So probably in the next video. Number 10 says calculate the sample standard deviation utilizing that function and displaying it near, so you can see on the example the standard deviation there. We're also going to use the data analysis tool pack to generate the summary statistics or the descriptive statistics, and we're going to be able to compare that to what we calculated here. Number 12, saving that and just double checking that we've got everything set up and ready to go. So as I take a look at the Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to end up, so when I take a look at this cell, so this is where you guys have, so right below the standard deviation for the population, I can calculate, or I can type that in. What it's going to do is it's going to give me a little autofill. So if I just hit enter and go down, it'll actually accept it. If I double click inside the cell and change that P to an S, that's going to help going through and distinguish between population and sample. I'm going to type in the next cell, F8. I'm going to do equals STDEV, and then if I look, STVDEV.S is in there, double click on it, and then I'm going to then select my data. So when I do that, I'll hit enter, 0.417, which is what was showing up on the Word doc. And then the other thing that they want us to do is generate the summary statistics. So I'm going to go ahead and set my mouse cursor over here kind of in K3, so that way it'll be kind of in line with these other summary statistics. And I'm going to go ahead and go into data and click on data analysis. I can actually utilize something, so you'll see there's an option for descriptive statistics. I'll say OK. It's going to ask me for what's the input range. So I'm going to click the little arrow there, and I'm going to select my data that I have. So C5 to C16. So they're going to have some absolute cell address values in there. Grouped by columns. And then it says the output range. I'm going to go ahead and click on that little button there. Change that radio button first. Click on this. I'm going to choose the cell where I've got my cursor. And then there, that's really probably going to go through. I'm going to leave everything else blank, and I'm just going to say OK. So here's what it's going to do. As it looks like it says I need to choose one statistical option. Looks like I need to check mark summary statistics. Say OK. There we go. And so here we're going to end up having a column 1 and everything as such. So it looks like I might have to drag my histogram down a little bit below. But here's what this kind of does. So there's going to be some stuff in this descriptive statistics that we didn't really talk about. But you can see the mean and everything. If I go ahead and highlight these and format the cells over to 3 decimal places, you're going to see it's going to generate the mean at 5.701, which is what we had. The mode is 5.5, median was 5.75. All those are there, and there's some other different summary statistics that pop up, but it'll do this all for you as well. So that's the analysis tool pack. So if we don't want, like here, I'm going to hit delete, and I'm just going to say shift the cells left. There we go. And if I don't want this column 1 and everything, we could always rename that if we wanted to, but I could always go through and hit delete and say to shift the cells up, and then that way that moves all the cells up, and that way it's in line with our other ones there. But other than that, kurtosis, skewness, those are ones we didn't really talk about, or the sample variance. But other than that, that would go through and generate our summary statistics. So let me drag that up there a little bit. There is our heights of students. So down here at the bottom, that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to look at my tab, sheet 1. I'm going to double click on the sheet 1. I'm going to call this part 1, heights of students. Hit enter. And then while I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at, in the next video, creating a new sheet and setting up for activity 7.2 part 2, which is going to be the statistical analysis on our connector part.